Motion by Doyle.
All right, Mr. Doyle?
Here.
Ms. Grewash? Ms. Knopf? Here. Mr. Smith?
Present.
Ms. Stam?
Present.
Ms. Williams?
Here.
And Councilman Kewen is absent.
All right. Thank you all very much. Now we would move on to the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I hope everybody's had a moment to look over the agenda this evening. Unless anybody has any issues with it or additions, subtractions, comments, I would seek an approval of that agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda. Stam.
Second, Doyle.
All in favor? Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Same with the minutes. I hope everyone's had a chance to look over the minutes. Any corrections or anything they need to add? Other than that, I would seek a motion to approve those minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes. Stam.
Second, Doyle.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Then we would move on to any citizen comments. I don't believe there appear to be any. Moving on to the committee and department reports. Hearing first from tourism and festivals.
That's me today. Jennifer's out today, so good evening. Welcome back. It's nice to all see you back for 2025. It's been a minute. This time of the year, we are really just at our peak of kind of booking everything, getting ready for everything that's to come up, whether that be GMNs, HFF, just the whole summer's worth of things. So we are all kind of busy bees getting everything ready for the entire year, the entire summer. Whiskers and Wags specifically, the vendor and not-for-profit agency applications are open. I think we're at about 11 not-for-profit agencies so far, which is great. So that's on May 3rd. If you guys don't have anything to do at Civic Park, there will be lots of little adoptable animals out there. It's always a lot of fun, and you can snuggle some dogs. There will also be a canine demonstration. They'll be doing like agility and trick dogs and some frisbee and things like that, which is always super fun. We are also doing a supply drive in partnership with Volunteer Services to donate items to those pets in needs that are in shelters and agencies and things like that. So hopefully that one goes over well. Jammin's, as I had said, opening night is May 27th. We just finalized the lineup of bands a few weeks ago. If you guys haven't had a chance to see that yet, it will be coming out in the rec guide. I don't know if that's made its way to social media yet. And we have also finalized our food vendors and things like that. So we'll be getting all the website updated and stuff. I think it's going to be another good summer also over at Civic Park. And then for Heritage and Freedom Fest, our rock headliner for the year, which will be on July 4th, is Neon Trees. That was announced last month, I believe, somewhere around there. We are still working through country. We're kind of back and forth, but we will have a country night. We just don't know who will be there yet. A little bit on the art side of things, I guess. We normally try to have, an artist demonstration or something along those lines. This year we will have a glass blower on site who will be doing some demos and just kind of work throughout the day. And then we will actually get to keep some of those pieces as well. So we'll be working with Brittany to kind of see, where we want to place those throughout the city, different facilities throughout the city or anything along those lines. So I think that one's going to be really neat. I'm really excited to see that one come to life. As far as the quote-unquote sideshow, we're going a little bit interactive this year. We will actually have a NASCAR simulator. So it'll be an actual like NASCAR car. And then I think there are external simulators along with it as well. So people can kind of get, they can sit in the car, they can pretend they're driving, things like that. I have no desire to drive 200 miles an hour, but like if I can do it stationary, I'm actually kind of excited to try it. And then we're also kind of researching some new elements to implement for the parade. That's everyone within the city loves that. And so we're just kind of looking into ways that we can freshen it up a little bit, and it still be just as fun, as exciting as it always is. That is all I have, but if there's any questions, I would be happy to answer them.
As far as the parade goes, more marching bands, fewer political floats. As far as I'm concerned.
It's not a November election year, so I think we'll be okay on the less political. We're actually working to incorporate some more marching bands. We have 3
Fantastic.
within the city that are consistent participants and things like that. So I'm hoping that they'll all be coming back again this year, because as a former band nerd myself, I agree.
Yeah, I feel like I had heard through the grapevine that like it was limited to 3 for a while or something like that, and that other marching bands wanted to join in, but there was not enough room for them. So
It used to be 2 consistently, and then we kind of had a third come in a few years ago to say like, hey, we want to do this too, and then it's consistently been 3. So we're trying to incorporate all 3.
Good deal.
For sure.
is the glass blower the same one that came out to Fall Into the Arts?
No. They were, correct me if I'm wrong, Brittany, I'm not going to say this right. They weren't a glass blower, right? They were a glass blower? Oh, no. It was lamp work? Yeah. Different. It was some sort of different glass work, I guess, but no,
Okay.
it's not the same.
So for the HFF one, they'll actually have the furnace, and then they'll
Oh, wow.
be blowing it, so it's a bit more active than the one that was at Fall Into the Arts. That was more of like slump mold kind of glass, and then this one will have the actual furnace. They'll be blowing it. They'll be making a bit larger pieces for it.
Okay, good deal.
Sorry, Jenna.
No, thank you. I appreciate that.
Any other questions for the Tourism and Festivals report? All right, thank you very much, Jenna. With that, we would move on to the financials report.
Well, good evening, everybody. Attached to your packet is the most updated financial status, and it has the unaudited figures for 2024, so you can see where we came in. If you're looking at a trend, we've kind of maxed on our revenues, so we're going to be working on that. As far as expenses last year, we did tuck pointing to the healed home. We bought some art, and we bought some seating and some stage extension for the theater and works. That was in last year. This year's budget, the $25,000 is for healed home. They're going to finish up the tuck pointing. We have $25,000 in there for potential art if something comes up. And then we're looking at getting a lighting grid for the O'Fallon Theater's work. Our year-to-date figures lag usually about a month or 2, so the fact that there's anything in there, that's good. But other than that, there's nothing really to report. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you much. All right, and that brings us to the Cultural Arts report.
Hello, everyone. It's nice to see everyone again. I just have a couple points to go over just for general cultural arts. We're revising timelines. So we're currently looking at the FITA timeline. Instead of taking that kind of waterfall approach that we've done before of looking at different PowerPoints throughout the year, my goal is to have it posted in March, have us review it as a group in June, notify the artists shortly after that June, so mid-June, just to be able to get a bit more of our audience out there and to know, and so the artists know when they should be hearing from us. So also just revising timelines of like OTW timelines and making sure that we're looking at what's coming up for next season, even though I know we're just getting into the first production for this year. So just looking holistically of how things can be kind of a nice moving machine moving forward. Also, on top of that, I have dropped off the show cards for you for this first round of artists, so feel free to take those home with you. But creating new gallery materials to promote the exhibitions that we have. Again, in our city hall gallery that you walked through was Joshua Newth. He actually came in to do a Paint Your Partner portrait workshop where we had 8 people participate. So it was a pretty good turnout. Everyone had a really great time. The portraits were pretty great. A couple kind of funny, a couple very, honestly, in the 2 hours, I was impressed of what our community members did. So it was great to bring in an artist who has an educational background. He is an associate professor, so plugging into that kind of programming was seamless. For it, and then just getting, so this was an adult workshop class, right? So maybe getting some people back into a creative mode, because I know sometimes youth programming, senior programming, it can be a bit more, but seeing that kind of general age group of, you can still paint, you can still pick up a paintbrush and engage with it. They also had the option of painting those portraits in a background of a television episode, similar to how Joshua does all of his work that's hanging in City Hall. So it tied directly into the gallery, and then they walked right through the gallery to get up to the workshop because it was held in our theater space. So again, adding awareness of that we have a theater, looking at that, putting some cultural arts, so seeing how all the cultural arts can really support each other in that kind of programming and development to it. So I definitely think we have some ways to go with it, but it was nice to kind of plug into it. We also held it the weekend before Valentine's Day. So again, kind of marketed as a date night. Paint Your Partner was something that blew up on TikTok of it, but then giving it a little bit more of that kind of educational stance to it and just some fun. Had some snacks. It was great. We do have an ink painting workshop coming up with Annie Campbell. It's slated for March 29th from 3 to 5. Annie is a local O'Fallon resident and participated both in FIDA and tree lighting. Thank you. I'm looking at Mariah because she organized tree lighting. I was like, what was your event? And makes these beautiful abstract landscapes, really thinking of how ink moves on the page, how that she can control that, and then mining from her experience in different landscapes. So I looked at one of her work and I was like, oh, this landscape reminds me of Ireland. And I said that while I was installing it. And then I talked to her and she said her inspiration was Ireland. So you're really seeing this kind of abstracted, very flowy, but has some nice visual control to it to really communicate place and space, which is fantastic. I also want us to think about, because we do have a line, some budget for this year of purchasing artwork as well. So looking at the art that we have in those galleries and starting to see, is there something that we want to hold on to, and maybe bringing some of those suggestions to the next meeting as well. So if you haven't yet, I would highly suggest get over to Krekel and take a look in that gallery. Again, Krekel is not regularly open, so if you're interested in getting into that space, just shoot me an email and I'm happy to meet you over there and have kind of a walk through it as well. But I would like, and this will tee into our old business, but I would like us to start to consider kind of a permanent gallery that could exist, that could show the artists that we have exhibited throughout the kind of years and build that up, especially with the healthy purchasing budget that we have. OTW theater update. If you go upstairs now, outside of that space, it says theater rather than gym. So the city is really excited to move into that space and really buy into the idea of that this is a theater, this is the O'Fallon Theater Workspace, and also with that could bring in other programming to it. So we're just in our first initial stages of that and what that looks like, but it's very exciting, and I think could be a lot on the horizon, and when decisions are made or when we know where things are going with that, I'll definitely be relaying that information to you. But the step one was getting Jim off the wall in theater in its place. So that was really exciting just to see that kind of first steps into transforming that space. And that's everything that I have for the cultural arts report, and then I just get into all of the bullets. So any questions over that?
Well, you didn't mention anything about your own exhibition
Oh, yeah.
at Renaud.
My art's up too. I was very excited to put my artwork up in the community. It's kind of a get to know your cultural arts specialist since I am still relatively new, right? Was hired in July. So there's a large scale installation on one of the walls. There's a couple drawings of it, a couple smaller pieces that exist. And in the lobby, there's another 2 installations that exist in it. But it was great to put the artwork up in the community. I had so many people come up and talk to me and were really interested and engaged in the arts, of really advocating for more programming and saying, oh, I didn't even know that this was a gallery space. So I think that visual awareness of the art that you're putting in those spaces to really have it pop in that space and have it be something that's approachable. Also got a lot of suggestions of what I should do with my artwork as well, so it's always good to have those conversations and see what people's takeaways are from it. But honestly, that was a great experience of just physically being in that space and putting it up and having those conversations. So yeah. Thanks, Kevin. I completely forgot.
You're welcome. All right, new business?
Old business.
Old business. Oh, well, I guess you
Yeah.
kind of bridged over a little bit into it. Well, all
How do I
right.
go back? Previous. Got it. I was like, there's no keyboard.
There we are.
So I have old business first, then the rest of it's the new business bullet points. So OTW recap, Scrooge, December, feels so long ago at this point. But our Dine and Discover fully sold out for Scrooge, which was fantastic. It sold out months before our production of it. We had Larry, our director, and a couple actors popped down and did a meet and greet for it, which was fantastic. Larry did kind of a Q&A a little bit. They had opportunities to be photographed with the actors. One of the Ghost of Christmas, one of the ghosts came and was in the full attire, so it was definitely, I think the audience had a good time with it. They also got signed playbills from the cast, so which was kind of a nice takeaway from that evening as well. Overall, we sold 1,370 tickets. 3 of the 6 nights completely sold out. So definitely a great production, and teen into just like all of the Christmas festivities that O'Fallon holds. I think having a holiday production is a fantastic move. We also purchased Olympic art. We voted on it in here. The art is on the 3rd floor now, which I would like to continue to build on and turn into that kind of permanent art gallery that I touched base on the previous side. So seeing what art we can hanging it gallery style. We also did purchase 3 sculptures that are now sitting on 2 pedestals that we purchased in the last year as well. So we have 10 more pedestals in storage that we're able to use for different exhibitions to bring that kind of 3-dimensional work in as well, especially in that City Hall gallery, to really diversify the type of artists that we're bringing in the space, which is great. One of the paintings is in Krekel. It's an image of a dancer. So since Krekel has dancing over there in the lobby, it's going to be at home there. And then we also purchased the posters that were in the whole Renaud gallery. They're going to be permanently installed in Renaud in the opposite kind of wing hallway that's there. So still working on that. They're currently in storage, but that's where they'll be going eventually. Any questions on old business? Okay, new business, or all of the other bullet points that we need to cover because it has been a while since I've seen you. OTW season, that's the current season we're at. Friday opens the complete works of William Shakespeare, abridged, revised, again. It's hysterical. Going up there and just dropping in on marketing days, the cast is fantastic. It's really comedic. There's a lot of audience participation in this one. So if you don't have your tickets yet, if you know people need to hear about this, definitely spread the word of this one. It's going to be a really fun production. So again, that's this weekend, next weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Once we wrap up with Shakespeare, we're moving on to 6, the musical teen edition. Taylor's already on top of things and has her list of things to order already, and it's looking fantastic. So we have auditions coming up for that, ages 13 to 19. It does go up to 19. It doesn't cap at 18 for this one. So those are March 26th and 27th over at the Krekel Civic Center. If you go on to the website, mo.gov/OTW, there's a link to sign up right there. So any kind of kiddos in that age range that you know are musically inclined or dancing inclined. So they'll be casting the 6 leads, or the 6 queens. Then they'll have a dancing kind of extra ensemble to get more youth participation in that. But it's going to be a fantastic production. I've seen 6, just the normal one itself, and loved it, so I can't wait to see what Taylor does with it. The Curious Savage. I think since last time I saw everyone, this has been replaced out from The Thing. We switched to The Curious Savage, yeah. Just looking at some copyright issues and looking at the kind of back end of that, that's why we had to make the pivot. The Thing is not fully ruled out, but just not for this year. So auditions for that, while this is our September play, auditions are April 27th, so they are coming up, and that is anyone 20 or older, and then callbacks would be the next day by invite only. And then Scrooge is again slated for our holiday show. The first 3 productions tickets are currently live and on sale. I think we already have about 12 tickets sold for 6, which is fantastic. People are already excited about it. Oh, 17. Thanks, Jenna. But we just wanted the opportunity to have people buy in early and look at that kind of flow of it, hopefully in the thought of creating a season pass coming up for next year, but still kind of working on that. Scrooge, we did not open up ticket sales for yet because we're aiming to market it with all of the holiday events. So that's just kind of where those are plugging into. And again, just looking at that for season tickets, season ideas, that there are more plays coming up. So when they come and see the complete works of William Shakespeare and they're like, I've never been to OTW before, these productions are fantastic, when's your next one? They can go ahead and buy their next tickets for the June. Questions on our current season? Great. And I believe they're up there rehearsing today, so if you want to swing by on your way out, feel free to. For choosing the next season, so I know in the time that I came in, choosing this current season was a little haphazard and didn't really go in the normal fashion that we typically do. But I really want to make sure that the CAC has their voice on the season. I want to make sure that we're looking at what the community is interested in. So this is a similar setup that what I saw previously, but slightly different. So just getting more voices on that and looking at that kind of voting system. So I would love for the next meeting, if the CAC could bring 2 production selections per category to the April meeting. Our 4 categories that we're looking for the next year, for 2026, are 1 musical, 1 play, 1 teen, which could be a play or a musical, and 1 holiday, which could be a play or a musical. So that'd be 8 productions in total from the committee as a whole. Then I'll take those 8 suggestions pair them together with our current director's suggestions, and then have the CAC city staff and directors vote on the productions. So similar to FITA, where we have that kind of juried in selection, or shape of community that has that kind of juried in, where you're getting more voices to see what we want to be producing as a city and what that kind of community factor is. The most votes per category will decide the lineup. And again, there will be some wiggle room in there if we can get rights to certain shows or what that kind of lineup looks like. But I would like majority of this to rule by popular vote moving forward, to see what productions people are interested in seeing, what the directors are interested in producing, and get a really nice lineup for 2026 too. Just kind of moving on that, the kind of energy that OTW has right now, right? It feels very positive and very active, so just making sure that we're still plugging into that community factor of it. Questions about the 2026 lineup?
When you say bring selections, you just want the titles?
Yeah, titles would be great if you want like to do a summary of it, but I am happy. Titles are perfectly fine. If you
Like send you the title and you can look it up.
Yes, yeah, I was like, as long as it's Googleable, I'm fine to go from there. But just as a committee, getting those kind of 8 selections together. Other questions? Giving you guys some homework today.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
I did have a question.
Teresa?
On the new setup with the chairs, the risers in the back, when you have a full sold-out crowd, how are those working out?
The risers?
I mean, is the audience comfortable and happy with the seating back there as far as their ability to see and hear?
Yeah, as far as I'm aware of, I haven't received any complaints yet. I've sat in some of those seats to see how the seating is. You'll also know for this year, our lighting grid has moved. So that So the way that the lighting existed for Scrooge and I think 6 before, it was kind of in the way of some of those seats. So we took some of the seats out of the risers if they were partially obstructed views. But now our grid is behind the risers, so it's opened up the whole floor space to it. And especially having the lighting grid in the budget, we're hoping that that won't be an issue moving forward at all. We also have another set of those risers, so we're aiming to expand the width of them, and then we'll kind of lock in the distance to them officially at that point too. So that space is definitely moving to a space that will be in flux of what things look like, and especially the kind of moving parts of hopefully if basketball goals come down and those types of things, then the risers will have to move anyway. So then we'll have the option of kind of looking where that setup is. Yeah, I think sound is not an issue in that space. I could see the visuals in some spaces, but I think most of that was due to where the lighting grid was in relation to it last year.
And what is the number of seating on a sold-out?
So a part of that is we did and will be getting back the movable risers. So it depends on the configuration of those movable risers. But for Scrooge, it was 220, 260. Yeah, I can look that up and give you guys a final number. Yeah, it was about 250, somewhere in there. It went back and forth, which is why I think I currently have it set at 220 based off of the orientation. So I think Jenna's closer to 260. It was closer to 260 for Scrooge. And I would say that was very full, but still looked at safety, flow, all of that was taken into consideration with that number. Thank you. Any other questions? Great. So exhibition updates, just kind of teeing into what we already talked about, but our current exhibition is up now until April 30th. We do have a closing reception at City Hall April 25th, which is a Friday, from 5 to 7 p.m. So put that on your calendars. I would love to see you there. Myself and Annie Campbell will be in attendance for that. Joshua Newth will actually be out of the country, so he won't be able to make it. But we will have one centralized location for the exhibitions, and then the other 2 galleries will be open, and anyone who comes will be encouraged to go see the other galleries if they haven't seen them yet. But I think Annie and I will just give a couple words about our artwork and just kind of what our thoughts are, and we'll have a couple images of what that looks like in this space, and then just kind of have some snacks, be able to enjoy the art, be able to walk over to Krekel since it's so close, and if people want to venture down to Renaud, they're more than welcome to. But personally, I'm less concerned about that one and this one since it is my work, and that is the more high traffic spot anyways. We do have upcoming exhibitions, so that changeover will be at the beginning of May, so mid-May to the end of August. We are planning an opening reception, and it's not yet finalized, but it looks like it'll be in May, potentially May 16th, but again, not finalized yet. Next meeting, I will have a date for you of when that is. In City Hall, we have 2 artists that are doing 2 kind of separate solo shows in the space. At the Renaud Center, we have they're kind of like abstracted geometric buildings, photographs that'll be really beautiful in that space. And then Dave Walker over at Krekel does these kind of quilt landscapes. So kind of sewn, definitely like farmscapes and different scenes like that. So again, a nice kind of variety of the work that'll be in there. Questions on exhibitions? Great. More visual arts programming. So again, coming into this role, I was challenged with how can we get more programming, how can we get more cultural arts in the city. Part of that is art in summer camps. So I met with our summer camp recreation specialist. She already had a kind of time for some crafts, and I asked if I could just step in and take over that time. So I will be teaching 1 lesson in each camp over the summer camps, and for that, hoping to plug in a fall programming that will be teased out by the summer camp. So that here is some art education you can get through the city. Don't you want to come and have more art education through the city, especially when the fall comes through, and really start to build that programming for the kiddos and give them a space to be creative and engage in the arts. So we're plugging fall visual arts into those summer camps, which is great. It was honestly a really easy kind of seamless transition that could happen. And I'm not sure if you guys know, but I have taught summer camps for 3 different summers. So I definitely have those skills in my back pocket at some point, but kind of in a variety of summer camps from about 1st grade to junior high school. So it'll be fun to engage in that again. I also met with Crystal, and we talked about art education in the galleries and through the galleries and what that could look like, especially if we want more eyes on this work, and it is such a lovely resource to have. So thinking of visual thinking strategies and thinking of what groups of people we could bring in for that. So looking at school-age kids, seeing if that's something in the fall that we can really start to develop and get some field trips and work with that way. Crystal is certified in visual, or I was like, is it an official certification or?
There is no certification.
Okay.
I'm
A training.
trained,
Yes.
correct, and experienced, sort of. I mean, I experienced, yes, but I say that because you can never get enough experience. Yeah.
Definitely.
But yeah, I've done it at the art museum and teaching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think we're going to kind of team up and work on this together to get that kind of education. And if anyone else was interested in this visual thinking strategies, it's looking at artwork and being able to question it. Where does my eye go? What am I interested in it? Especially, I think, in kind of the community settings can be really intimidating, and people can just be really turned off by it. But this gives some educational programming to just have people be a bit more curious and have them trust their eye, because we do live in such a visual world where we're taking all the visuals in, but are we actually questioning things? Are we sitting down in front of a painting for longer than 30 seconds? And this really starts to push into that way. Crystal, I don't know if there's anything else you want to add to that. I'm just going to put you on the spot, or...
You did great.
Okay.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Perfect. And just thinking of how the galleries that we have, again, getting that engagement, getting that space. I also talked to our recreation specialist who kind of works with senior programming to get that in. I think we're going to try to plug into the seniors that we have. It's definitely kind of a group of people who are very engaged in OFallon, to see if that's where we can start with it, because that would be a bit sooner start than the fall with the school-age kiddos.
If I could say one more thing about it, because because we're just bombarded with images all the time, visual thinking strategies helps people learn how to really deeply look at something and actually be in that moment. So it serves more than just teaching critical thinking skills. It also helps people slow down, and that's kind of important too. So, I'm a big fan.
Yeah, I'm a big fan as well. My own artwork kind of aims to do that in of itself. So I think just like my own 2 cents, I definitely would love to fold this in. And I think just having like the openness of the space, it's a really nice, both this Crackle and even Renaud, you have that space to be in front of the painting. That it is a bit quiet. There are people that's going to be walking by. It's not as kind of serious as a museum or gallery setting, but it has that kind of approachability that you can start to slow down, you can start to question, you can really think of those kind of skills that sometimes we have lost through it. But questions about either of these?
Oh, you're great.
Yeah. Just some dates to mark. Shakespeare in the Park is slotted in Wednesday, August 27th at 6:30 at O'Day. So again, we've had them the last couple of years, continuing with it. They're a great group. It was fantastic last year. This was one of my first events when I got hired, so near and dear. Pushed back just a little bit in the timeline just to accommodate their scheduling and their touring schedule. So that's where that's at. Fall into the Arts, Sunday, September 21st, 11 to 4, O'Day. Again, talked about it in looking at the different timelines that exist, but looking to have the application posted by March, so it closes by May, so we can vote as a committee, and by we, I mean you can vote as a committee in our June meeting, and it'll only be our June meeting that we're looking at that, so then we can notify the artists mid-June and have payments, them solidified. And I think just that kind of structure also just aims for the craft artists, because this is their livelihoods. They need to be able to plan out their schedule. It pushes it up just a bit more for that communication. So hopefully we get a few more applicants and a few more artists of quality coming in the door and being engaged in this event. Questions on either of these dates? Okay, and then our last thing to go over today, I, had Noble Winds reach out to me. So I'm bringing it to the committee to see if this is something that, as a city, I should be taking and investing in, or if we're looking at this and saying, no, this is not a good fit for us, we can drop it like it's hot from here. But especially thinking of the murals, that conversation that I know existed and predated me, and talking about how we can get kind of art in the parks. This could be an option into that realm, but this is a company that creates benches from retired wind turbine blades. So wind turbine blades have a certain lifespan on them. Once that lifespan is done, this company is now repurposing them. They do them kind of in twofold. One is just they're making them into benches and they are what they are and they have that kind of surface to them. The other is that they come primed and then they're ready for an artist. So an artist can then paint the exterior of it. They had examples that were just one artist that were painting the bench, an example of like a community event where everyone kind of put a handprint on it and it becomes this kind of community driven, a little less about the final product, but a little bit more about that day and that event for it. But again, they're pretty reliable, right? They don't need much upkeep to it. They don't rust at all. But also the kind of price point that we're looking at. And again, this is just like a first brainstorming of is this something that we would like to see and talk about? Then I would take it to look into budgeting and then where that could fit into in purchasing. But the one on the left is just the kind of basic coloring that it has, but then the one on the right was a bench in Florida that an artist came in and created that kind of landscape scene to it as well. But then they also have different kind of setup ones. So that one's actually a swing, and then the other one is the same, where it has a bit more canvas to paint and for an artist to engage in, and I think might be a bit more visually impactful than the other one. But again, that's where the two different price points come in. So just wanted to show the options to that and get feedback and thoughts, and if this was something of interest from the committee to see if we should pursue this and look at kind of in the parks where it could go, and then take that and work at it that way, especially since we have our sculpture and rotating kind of event. It could be something that's complementary to it.
I don't know. I was Googling it as you were talking about it and looking at some of the pictures. I think they look awesome. I think they have a
I'm all
really
for that.
unique design. It kind of fits. We have kind of the industrial background with our railroad and everything like that, and like repurposing wind turbine blades kind of, I don't know, somehow it meshes well in my mind. And also the space for artwork. I mean, we've been struggling to try and find some of that mural space like you were talking about. And I think this would be a good fit.
I will say, just looking at it, I'm kind of surprised that's that expensive. Knowing what goes into that.
I wonder if they purchase the blades off of someone or anything like that. I don't know what, no.
I don't know. I don't have that information. If you're interested, I can reach out to them and ask for a bit more transparency in that as well. The other thing, option, so artists could directly paint on this, and they would have that paint and know what type of paint so it lasts. Or you could vinyl wrap it. So then you could change out the kind of vinyl wrap every year, every so often if you wanted to. So it does have those two options as well. And if this was something that we wanted to pursue, we could talk about that as well. But
I think it's certainly worth looking into.
Perfect. That's all I needed for that. That's all I got for today. Any questions, comments, concerns, general inquiries?
Thank you. I mean, it seems like we're kind of hitting the ground running. I like it. I'm surprised we're talking FITA again already, but then I did the math in my head. I can't believe we're already back to it.
It comes up quick.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, and this leaves a space for any other items that anyone on the commission would like to bring up. Seeing,
She mentioned that we need to have suggestions for plays. And two is a committee that we would come up with, so when do you propose that we?
so Brittany was saying next meeting, come to the table with some musicals, some plays, a holiday.
Have two as a group, so.
I think it's individually. Do you want us to individually come up with two for each of those categories, or as a commission?
As a commission.
Okay.
So I would like 8 total suggestions, 2 plays, 2 musicals, 2
Okay.
teen, and 2 holiday. But as a commission, if we could submit 8 names.
Okay, so everybody just bring some stuff to the table next time, and we can hash out our 8 then? Or is this going to be an ongoing discussion between now and then?
I would like to leave that meeting walking away with the names. We could do it during the meeting, email before, whatever makes sense
Okay.
for the commission.
If you wouldn't mind starting like a master email with
sure.
everybody's names on it, and then we can kind of have that conversation, and
Perfect.
I've already started trying to think of some.
I have one idea, but this is my last meeting, so I'll just send it in an email.
Oh, okay, great. Not great that it's your last meeting, but. All right. Any other items? All right, seeing none, I would seek a motion to adjourn. Do you want to make a motion for your last meeting?
Okay, I was always told I wasn't allowed to because I was
Oh.
at large.
I don't know, is that the rule? You can make a motion. All right, so moved. And a second? We have our motion and our second. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, thank you all very much, and welcome to 2025.